and welcome to this unboxing of KillTeam.
KillTeam, you said? No? Okay. Hello and welcome to the Average Tabletop Gamers. I'm Ben.
I'm Ian.
And I'm Gary.
And if you're missing Sven, don't worry, we're not. Today we're going to be looking at Games Workshop's latest offering, KillTeam. So, what is it?
It's lovely and it's very bloody heavy is what it is.
So you're getting a lot for your money then?
This weighs a ton. This is probably the heaviest box set they've produced that I can think of. I can't think of anything that's actually been this packed full of good stuff.
Yeah, and as much as you were laughing at me earlier for saying so, I think it's a lovely looking box. I don't know if it's the colour combinations or just the artwork on it. I think it just looks great. It's a great sort of eye catcher before opening.
The visuals are lovely. It's just lush.
So, what is KillTeam?
So KillTeam's a skirmish game for the Games Workshop universe. It is
The 40k universe.
40k. It's a really nice set. It's all about playing skirmish games rather than the traditional larger games. There's been this big thrust over the last, decade or so where Apocalypse came along, but the thirst for having skirmish has always been there, and I don't think it's ever gone away. So,
and I think certainly going back through history, some of my favourite games they've done have been Necromunda, Blood Bowl, and
the smaller box games.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And in more recent years, they seem to have realised the money in there. When you look at Blood Bowl, Age of Sigmar, KillTeam now, Necromunda, they're all targeted more at people who have less time, not time to play.
You know what it is now.
2-3 hour game on the tabletop, so actually a bit more board game focused.
I think as well it's kind of like it's kind of like embracing where people are. We're looking at it's an age where people are more digitally engaged. It's quick wins. It's the dopamine hits from your Candy Crushes and the games like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Gaming's a much more casual affair nowadays.
Yeah.
It's not something that, kind of back when we started out, or when I started out especially, it was hours upon hours sat on your own in a little room with clippers and glue and stuff like this. Now it's much more sociable. And I say much more casual. People don't want to spend all that time kind of putting miniatures together and then hours painting them and things like that. So
and talk about miniatures, I can see them under there just waiting to come out. So let's have a look.
I think as well this goes into the accessibility part. This is probably the most accessible set you can get. So obviously they've put in the card protectors that everyone loves these days, and
that's lush.
Not much damage to this. So I think the important thing is you could frame it. And you could have it somewhere and display it. It's a really nice piece of art.
I'm guaranteed there's going to be some frame somewhere.
Yeah, totally.
Look how full the box is.
It's absolutely chocker. You've got there's nothing different. These are the Cultist sprues and the Mechanicum sprues that they're doing the current boxes anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's nothing different to them, but they're just stunning. I mean, these kits have come out and they're absolutely beautiful pieces of kit.
So are these your tradition? Because I don't build a lot of my own models because I'm lazy. Are these your traditional glue and put together? Are these the
So these appear
pinned together
to my, what I would say, expert eye. These are your classical Games Workshop style miniatures, multi-pose.
But rather than push fit, you have to glue them and hold them. And
So there's a little bit of work, extra work that goes into these, but there's some really nice little features on here. I really like the on the body, the leg pieces here, the little plug there to centre the torso pieces, and just little advancements. I remember the original 30 Space Marine box, which was really
blank fits,
blank fit, everything together. Whereas these, although it is, they're designed to go together in multiple poses. There's a little bit of thought about trying to keep a little bit security and keeping them together.
And that sprue is full, absolutely chock full of things, isn't there? There's not a lot of empty space.
Get a bit of a close up on that.
There you go. Yeah.
Let's have a look. So that's the sprue itself. Really nice. Loads of components. Lovely detail. The kind of classic things you can expect from Workshop these days.
Yeah, I mean the quality of sculpture, which is kind of where they're leading the market, and material use as well. It's exemplary, and it really comes through in these this is a really nice colour to cast in as well.
Yeah.
It does kind of highlight and show everything on there, and there's so much detail on these.
And as you mentioned colour, actually, every sprue, or all the different combinations of sprues in this box, look like they're a different colour, which has been a common theme in the last few games we've seen, where I think in the past, Games Workshop had tended to be, it was the grey
box
plastic.
full of grey.
Yeah. I think as they've gone more towards these, I say quicker play games, the more board game aspect, I think they've realised how gamers have changed, so they've essentially gone for side A will have one colour and side B will have another colour. So if you don't like painting, if you don't like spending the ages converting the miniatures,
or if you're a big fan of Halo Red versus Blue,
exactly.
Yeah.
You actually have counters of different colours that you can play with on your nice boards.
It goes back to the the kind of the very earliest board games and war games of chess and checkers.
Yeah.
It's just two opposing colours.
Yeah. So these must be the
These are
Skirmish
Mechanicum.
Mechanicum.
Yeah. So it looks like you've got the choice of Rangers or
your basic Skitarii.
basic Skitarii on there. Yeah. So they're the same as the. They are exactly the same as the original.
It's the cloak, the
original
suede
sprues.
cloaks. I think they're absolutely stunning miniatures.
So let's have a.
So the grey must be, what was the other faction?
So that's Gene Stealer
Cult.
Gene Stealer Cult. So that's all your Gene Stealer hybrids. Now I've had my fair share of doing Adeptus Mechanicus and Skitarii, and yet there is absolutely nothing different apart from the basic colour on those.
So they're really nice, really good. You get the usual bases. Don't need to labour those too much. There,
Are those plastic bags, Gary?
They would
They
be
are.
everyone's favourite, and
Okay.
it's an interesting thing. We'll probably touch on this in some of the other reviews we do. Is these are going to have to go somewhere one day. I think the day the Ziploc bag's numbered, and I think gaming companies need to start getting creative.
Yes,
Everyone's seen all of the furore that's going on about plastics, and
Mr. Ambra.
and rightly so. So I think they've got to be a bit more creative.
Is
Something
that
like
a Ziploc bag to hold a Ziploc bag?
yeah, that is a Ziploc. That is meta in the extreme.
Thank you, Games Workshop, for absolutely blowing our minds.
I think as well though, it is. I think companies are going to have to think about how maybe
I don't know why I
fold
was
away.
looking at that.
Yeah, maybe we fold away card boxes for storage. Clever little things. There must be something they can do.
There's got to, someone somewhere out there. Come on, be smart. Find something new.
Yeah.
Be that person that makes a fortune and attributes it to us.
Yeah, you heard it here first. So on to the other sprues. Now this is something. These are new. These are the terrain sprues, which there's lots of. And
It's a good job they're designed to come apart.
And these you get so much stuff. It's
These are
unbelievable.
Stunning.
They're really nice. The relief detail's fantastic. They've got, all the elements you'd want on there. And this is the other thing they've paid attention to detail too, as well as the top part. The underside's got some detail which you don't normally get. So let's have a look at that in close up.
From the look of this, there's obviously a lot of connection points that will need cleaning up, but something I've been really impressed with in a lot of the recent Games Workshop stuff is the way they're putting them on the sprues, the mould lines and the lack of mould lines.
Yeah,
Really aren't. I mean, still got to clean up the connections.
Yeah.
But there's not those big mould lines that always used to cause problems when I was
Yeah. So as I said earlier, the technology and kind of the way that they're pushing the technology in this industry, especially, is fascinating. Plastic injection moulding side of things. Now, I am led to believe that all of these terrain pieces are interconnectable.
Yeah. So.
And they can go together in a myriad and multitude of ways.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. The versatility workshop, they've always done this stuff really well, but they're at the point where they're still the market leader, and they're still doing things really well.
I mean, there was just that article that came out today about their profit margins, etc. So they're obviously doing something very, very good, and especially like a couple of years ago that we'll probably remember when they weren't being as successful. So there's some very clever people in Games Workshop at the moment who've really put a good turn on the business.
Just in terms of attention to detail, it's just as you were talking there, as I'm sort of flipping this around, something I really like is that's clearly meant to be a base plate for something.
Yep.
But they've thought enough about it to put some detail on the other side of the hatch. So you've got the top of the hatch and the underside.
I think
which I just think's a nice little bit of attention there.
Yeah.
I think there's reference to where the period through the 90s and for Games Workshop was called their golden age, and I don't think it's just Workshop now. I think there's a bit of a silver age for gaming going on. There's
Absolutely.
so many great games out there that Workshop, I think there's a big swell of interest in games like Infinity. There's smaller games out there. It's even, I recently got the Thing board game, and the Thing it's a brilliant game, but the figures just aren't up to scratch.
No.
Yeah.
And that for me was disappointing because it's such a good thing. So we'll look a little bit more. And speaking of the relief detail, I just want to show there's a gateway section here, which is absolutely fantastic, and the relief detail on there with
That's beautiful.
with the scrolls and the writing. So it's gonna lend itself to really nice painting. So we'll have a look at that in a bit closer detail there.
This is all. It's really, really nice.
Yeah.
To put it very bluntly, they are doing some stellar work at the moment in terms of their production, especially on this. And kind of going back to that point earlier, yeah, I think you're right. I think there is a silver age.
Yeah.
I think things like Kickstarter have really helped.
Yeah, totally.
You know, there's so much stuff kind of coming out of there. And I think Games Workshop have responded really
Yeah,
well by upping their levels and upping their quality.
With so much more competition in there, they've had to really, though, haven't they?
Yeah,
Because there's
absolutely.
a lot of games, both big and at the Skirmish level, trying to take their share of the market.
Yeah.
We've just before we move on, we've just unboxed a heck of a lot of plastic. How much does this actually sell for?
So the box itself, if you're just going to get the game, it's £80.
Right, okay.
And
That's pretty good actually for the amount of.
And to be fair, and that's before we start getting into the card stock and the rule book itself. And the
just
fact
kind
of
of
3 pieces of artwork in there is incredible.
Looking back at prices of Games Workshop terrain pieces and figure pieces and things like this, £80 for the plastic in here is astonishing value.
Yeah.
For Games Workshop price points, and maybe that's something that they've realised as well.
Yeah,
Is that you can still make a lot of money by selling more of something rather than selling a few at a higher value.
I think they've brought out a lot of nice stuff at release as well, which is they haven't just drip fed it by. There is a game and a couple of extras. There are extra war bands in there, or gangs, or kill teams, or whatever you're going to call yours. Where you've got the Fangs of Ulrich for the Space Wolves using the new Primaris. You've also got the orcs in there as well. Come with terrain. I think they've done really great things with all this. So you're looking at £30 and £50 price points for some of the add-ons. Is like, it's really good.
Yeah, I think the teams are about £30, but you basically get a number of miniatures for your kill team, depending on which kill team it is. Yeah. They give you some cards, some materials to expand on that detail in the kill team. Yeah. Be interested to see if that's new material or if it's just grabbing the relevant section from the rulebook.
Possibly. But then you also get in a piece of scenery.
I was going to say you get a nice little bit of
yeah.
scenery. So I think the kill teams were £30, and is it? They then go to some. I can't remember what they called them. They've actually got
kill zones.
Where they've actually got a larger piece of scenery, and they look really, really smart. But
they're about £50, if I remember rightly. Kill zones were about £50.
That's right. Yeah, they were more
and then
expensive,
there's more scenery that's been released as well.
Yeah.
That again, that's completely interchangeable with this and melds with it.
Yeah.
And that's all from I think it's like 22 quid, something like that, all the way.
all
the way up. You can spend as much as you want on this.
All of this would fit in with any of the existing terrain range as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think just I know we're sort of really getting stuck into miniatures because it's what we all love, isn't it? Really? That's totally. The bit we love talking about.
Totally.
But what I think is really, really clever about this, and it's clearly what they thought about, is it uses all the miniatures you've already got.
Yeah.
So most of the things that are in there, you can pretty much go to your armies or those miniatures you've not used for a while, which is basically what I've done.
In fairness, I've got a load of Death Guard stuff at home that I've never taken out.
Well,
so
I've got that already, but the thing that's making me go is thinking, actually, this is a really small amount of figures that you need for the game. I'm thinking, what can I convert? What can I kit bash?
Yeah.
What can I put together?
Absolutely.
What have I got lying around it? It's making me think, how can I make something a bit unique? So for the Blanchitsu fans out there who like that gritty, dirty style, this would fit in with the Inquisimunda and the things that they've already got out there. Yeah. So this will tie in beautifully with that. So anyway, let's get into some of the card stock and the rules itself. Natty little range ruler you get in there, which is really nice. once again, I think it's kind of essential these days. You're going to need a measuring device. I think it's a bit of plastic you can't get away from, really.
No. And I know that there is they have released a KillTeam specific, measuring device.
Yeah,
ruler.
So, which
I
is,
can't remember what they're called now.
Yeah,
tape measure. That's the phrase. That's the fella.
That's the fella.
And it's all branded and everything. But there you go. There's a foot in anyone's old money.
And some of these have actually got. Well, hey, you can open them quite easily because they've got the.
Oh, they actually
like a playing card.
Hey, that's nice.
Get in. So you've got data cards in here. Now I've bought the add-on data card set, so I'm going to look through these later in detail and hope I get some different ones.
Oh, fabulous!
Because if I get what I've got in the box, I'm going to be disappointed.
Yeah,
because that was an extra tenner that I could have spent on more toy soldiers.
So I mean, I think this is something.
Well, this is probably a chance now to bring those in.
Well, do you want to open those?
Well, yeah. I'd like to open something.
Have a sharp implement.
Now,
let's be careful, kids.
He passed that badly. Don't do that.
Blade first.
Yeah.
So this is one of the things where I'd be interested to see. I mean, we've kind of gushed on this and the real positives. I'll be interested to see what value those nice cards. I'm a big fan of cards, but what value they actually add. Because being the resident rules lawyer of the group, I have already been through the rules and sort of seen what's in there.
So,
and there's quite a lot of detail for building.
So on the back here it says the set contains 25 blank cards and 36 universal tactics from the KillTeam core manual,
which you do get
printed on individual cards as a handy reference.
And you do get blank cards in here as well as the basic ones from the game. Yeah. So this might be one to potentially avoid.
So you've got all of those, which starts with the tactic card.
Well, the first card on the top is the same as the one that's in the...
Yeah, so this is... I can see the use of having them.
But at the first release, it just feels like a bit of a cash grab, which you don't really need as a gamer. I would have rather spent that, thinking, that's 10 quid where I might have thought, shall I spend a little bit more money?
We know what they look like, so I'm not even going to open them.
Yeah.
So I have a slightly different take on it from yourself there, in that I think it's quite interesting the way they've done this particular game. I think it's quite interesting the way they've done it, because this box is clearly, by this box you'll have terrain, you'll have 2 forces, you'll have all the cards you need, you'll have the rules, etc, etc, etc. However, most of the stuff I think you can get separately. So I think you can buy the rulebook separately, you can buy the cards separately. We've already said you can use any miniatures from the Games Workshop range. In the 40k universe you can have some...
To a degree at the moment, I don't know if they cover all of them.
So however, those data cards are in the starter collection set that they've got on the website for
Workshop. Are they? Okay.
So that feels like it's a bit disingenuous, you know, and kind of like as a young gamer getting that, you'd be a bit like, oh, well, I've got the same thing. And for younger gamers who want to get into it, because this is brilliant as an entry-level product. You'd feel a little bit like, well, I spent 110 quid, what could I have spent that on? Could that be some more paints? Could that be some more spray?
So I totally get the point there. I absolutely understand why they've released it as a separate. It is handy for those people who aren't going to buy the box,
because they've got the armies, they've got the terrain,
got everything there, and all they need is a copy of the rule book. They'll pick up some of those cards because they're useful to have around.
But maybe don't put it in your starter collection that you're putting on your website.
Maybe throw in a set of dice and one of those nice tape measures instead.
Yeah. And actually, maybe some money off on your starter collection set, because you don't save anything currently.
Alright. Anyway. I'm sitting here holding some cards I'm desperate to put down. So these are... I won't talk too much about these, because these might come up, and I'm going to call this the wrong thing. I start to play. What's the other thing you do? I start to play. Get playing. That's what it is. Yes. Get playing. These are the kind of things that probably come up in a get playing. They're tactics cards. This is... One thing I found really interesting, what they've done here is, one of the game modes you can play is pick the models you've got, put together a kill team, play against your opponent who has also put together a kill team. You point them up, and if they're different, that's okay. The person with the lower points will draw more of these cards, which kind of is how they...
So that's the balance there.
Yeah. They have put in a more tournament-based matched style, which is 100 points versus 100 points.
There's a very nice dice crack in here. It's really nice.
Have they
black dice? They look matte as well.
Just have a 6. And they've just got 6 to represent a 6, not a stupid symbol as in some of the other dice.
Now I'm not sure, because I know that they've done faction specific dice, and I don't know if they are actually numbered or symboled. But I know a lot of the other box games that they're doing at the moment, they're symboled, aren't they?
Yeah. You've
At
got
the top end, but they're matte finished.
Yeah, matte finish, which is nice.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. So the usual array of counters that you're going to be using in games these days for skirmishing, they'll be representing, no doubt, some kind of pinning and wound markers and charging,
shooting, hiding.
the usual, the representative things in
Dead.
there.
Yes, this is the dead card.
So it's actually got, that needs opening because I don't even know what that is. I'm thinking that's a background book, maybe a painting guide.
No, that
if
is-
it's anything like the 8th Ed box when they released that, this will probably be faction guides and things like this.
I think you'll find written on the front there is Devoted Sons, the hybrid neophyte guide. So that is the faction guide for the Gene Stealer cult.
But I think there's 2 guides in there,
There's
so
3
you probably have
books
the
in
Skitari one as well. So it's really, really good. It's they've got both of them in there. It gives you that bit of versatility. While Ben's opening that, this is obviously the
That
core
is a
rule book.
serious manual.
It is a good-sized, chunky book to say the least. It is full colour. You know the usual high standards workshop do. This is, they've set the bar really high, and
That's pretty sweet, actually.
and they keep it
isn't
up there these days. Absolutely brilliant.
So I'm not totally up to speed on a lot of the more current workshop product, but a lot of that looked like more original artwork to me. So I don't know if it's just rehashed from other. I mean, some of that's the classic Chaos Space Marine, but
Carl Kupinski artwork and things like that.
but it looked to be a lot of original artwork.
Yeah, so there's a lot of the stuff pulled from obviously the 40k universe with the new names as well. These are your, I will call them Eldar rather than the Asuranine.
Asuryani.
Yeah. I think everyone's having issues with the names and just devolved to Space Marine
Well,
Eldar.
those people who are prehistoric and dinosaur-like, maybe.
Us old people.
You old people, you speak for yourself.
Whoa.
I'm okay with new IPs. I can live in a transitional world.
Yeah, whatever.
And kids like myself, we just embrace it all.
What can I say? I mean, it's stunning. It's a really nice book. Early things I've heard about the rules, they're really simple, really easy to play. It's a great entry point. You can use a small collection of models. You can use the different things from those different box sets you buy that sometimes you don't use. Oh, I really want to use those Terminators in this game, or I really want to use this really cool unit. Well, actually, you might use one of the models from it, if nothing else, in this.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So really,
And
nice way
I've
to
also
play.
heard that it's designed for kind of like a campaign style, with experience and improvements and things
we were
like
talking
that.
about that just before we started, actually, and it's quite nice the way it's quite simple the way they've done it. So it literally is you pick a specialist and they have just a tree that they move. It's not like it's a nice tree they move down.
That's easy enough. I mean, if only other games thought something that simple.
Yeah.
So that's lovely.
That's done. The books then.
So these books, what we've got here is the Devoted Sons Neophyte Hybrid Kill Team, and this is a history and background of Gene Stealer cults.
Why do I get the feeling one of those sealed up with a white dwarf might be happening for other factions? Because that...
Very possibly. We've got the same kind of thing for the Skitari.
Oh, these are nice.
This is a handy reference sheet. How useful is that? Now, for those of you who've seen some more of the Average Tabletop Gamers films, you'll know how much we love a good reference sheet. And this is right up there. Not only has it got everything on there, it's actually got a really nice write-up of how everything works. So there we are. Okay. There's a nice handy one of those. And this is surprisingly heavy. And this is your how to build booklet.
Wow.
So you've got all the instructions in here for building let's put it up that way. So you've got the neophyte instructions that go through with all the different weapon types. It might look complicated, but having done a lot of Games Workshop miniature builds, the instructions are phenomenally easy. They're really well thought out. Every piece is numbered. Every sprue is indicated. So you could, really easy to put together that way. So you've got all the Skitari, you've got all the scenery, how to put it together to get certain configurations. And then, look at that. All the stats and everything you need to play as well. So that in itself. And a painting guide as well.
So the thing with that as well, obviously this figure's not snap fit. So if you're going to go and pick up a Games Workshop or your local friendly store, you're going to need glue, you're going to need spray, you're going to need modelling tools.
Yeah.
So one thing to be aware of that this isn't in its true essence. With the push fit not being used, you're going to have to do a little bit of work. So it's more like your traditional classic Games Workshop style of game. So the last thing in the box, and by no means the least thing in the box.
Just before we get to that, if you are worried about how to put things together, if you go onto Games Workshop's YouTube channel, which I'm sure we can pop a link in down there somewhere for, they have how to build and how to do things like this for KillTeam and the other games as well, kind of just to give you an indication of how to do things.
Can I have the implement?
Look, I've put the blade away.
Wow, okay. I hope I can get it out safely without cutting my fingers off, thanks. Okay, so this is... There we go.
Would be not.
So let me take that off.
Oh, I've got it, thank you.
There we go.
Thank you. Thanks.
I mean, you have opened it up with a nail file, so you've done well.
I've been doing this for years, folks, honestly. I'm semi-pro.
He's the brains of an outfit.
So, there's actually a gaming board in the box.
Oh, wow.
So this is the thing with KillTeam. This is probably going to blow your mind. That is a sufficient area to play the game on. Yes, I can hide behind it, but by God, that's really good. And
it fits on my dining room table, so it's
double-sided.
That's lovely.
This is, as entry level goes, this is fantastic. It's not massive. You're looking at it's 2 foot by about 3 foot.
11, so that's 22 by...
Good eye.
22 by 30.
So not bad.
Inches.
A bit of an odd size, but it fits in their box.
I know
and
that
it isn't.
because I checked earlier.
It is an area to play on, so it does mean that you're probably going to see those small gaming mats that there are from manufacturers, 2x2 mats, 3x3 mats getting used more. Loads of gamers don't have the space. The ideal of when you see all these gaming boards and gaming rooms that people have got, you just don't have it.
22 by 30. I mean, you know, we're so used to gaming boards being 6 foot by 4 foot.
Yeah.
You know, this is less than a quarter of that.
It's like we opened, isn't it? I mean, that is, okay, it's a big board game, but that's a board game sized board, isn't
Yeah,
it? Really?
yeah, very much so. Very much so.
I played Rebellion recently, and I think it's actually got a small board, bigger board than this.
Yeah, more than likely.
So is it a 2-player game or is it multiplayer?
It's going to be a classic 2-player game, but with the size of factions involved, you're going to be able to multiplayer this. I think this is ultimately, much as it's entry level, and you can define it, and it's got lots of organisation. It's got narrative play. It's gone towards what they've done with Age of Sigmar. So there's a narrative element. There's a matched play. You know, it's going to deal with tournaments. I think there's a lot of versatility with this.
Yeah,
I think this is once again in Workshop's current state. They are getting it right. This is an absolutely brilliant bit of kit.
Yeah,
and if you went and spent 80 quid and opened this up, you would not be disappointed. Absolutely brilliant. I'm blown away.
Now, you mentioned actually you bought it as part of a larger deal, and I think we've seen the main game, we've seen the cards, was there not something else?
There's
another deal.
And the one cool thing that I couldn't resist was
ta-da!
The KillTeam figure case. So this is really nice.
It seems very sturdy.
It's a sturdy bit of kit, so your models are well protected in there. Nice.
It's good zip action.
So you know what? It's a tidy little box.
It is.
The foam isn't glued into it, so if you've got your own foam, you can probably buy from other manufacturers out there if you've got it, or you've already got some stuff in your collection. Not everyone's a fan of this loose hex setup. Some people like the rigid compartments, but I think for what you're getting in the game and how you're going to transport it,
I think in fairness
ideal.
that's ideal, because just looking at it now and kind of having some of this style case, I know that in there you can get 10 figures very easily.
Yeah.
You can probably get your dice and your cards.
Yeah.
If you need them as well.
Probably
and there's
some
probably,
under
do you know
there.
what? There's probably space for a tape measure as well.
Yeah, definitely.
They should have. If they'd have done like a nice foam with a cutout for a tape measure.
So do you think with other companies out there like Battlefoam, Felder doing cases for pretty much anything that comes out, do you think this could mark the start of Games Workshop? Because I would have thought bringing out things like that for Blood Bowl, a team case for Blood Bowl with your team badge on it.
I think there's.
I can only see that. I can only say yes. I think it's a really nice piece of the market.
And I think
knowing kind of how Games Workshop shops work, you know, you go in there, you walk in, you've got some money in your pocket, you want to buy a thing, you buy the thing, and then you kind of oh look, and here's another thing to go with it. You know, I bought a Blood Bowl team.
Yeah.
Here's a case to carry them in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, there wouldn't be so much material out there that Games Workshop produce that's branded by faction and things like that. If there wasn't the market for it, you wouldn't be able to buy a Blood Angels mug if people didn't want one.
Exactly.
People are already doing figure cases for Shadespire. I think, like you said,
I have seen them already online for Kill Team as well.
and I think you made the valid point. They've gone for a very generic inside to this, where other manufacturers are doing specific stuff where it's space for cards, it's space for a tape, it's space for some dice, and there's miniature slots. And I think that's probably just the next level thing they'll start doing. But for me, it's a lovely bit of kit.
I like it.
I've spent 20 quid on that, and I'm
really
happy with
sweet,
that.
isn't it?
Yeah, it's lovely.
It's really sweet.
So
that's
it, really.
That's pretty much everything in the box and everything from your deal.
So kind of that is Kill Team by Games Workshop. Comes in at £80 for the base box. £20 for this, you said?
£20 on its own.
£10 for the data cards. I think the rule book on its own's what?
35?
35. It's an amount of money that's not unreasonable. You're probably better off buying the box, in fairness, for value. And then there's a whole range of add-ons as well. I don't know about you guys, but I'm really excited for us to get down and actually play this at some point in the not too distant future. I'm quite excited to get my hands on some of this scenery, put it together, and paint it fluorescent pink.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going for a Slaanesh starting battle then, are we?
Something like that. Anyway, but kind of in terms of that, I think that there's only one thing that it gets 2 thumbs up from me. It gets the big double thumbs up from me. It's a great looking game.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's mint. I think it's really, really, really quite clever. I'm more of a fan of the smaller games that they've been bringing out, and this just ticks the boxes. Plus, it lets me use some of my models that I've stopped using because I don't play 40k anymore. So I've dug up my Orc Commandos, and I'm really looking forward to getting them on the board.
Yeah, I think this will rejuvenate your 40k game, and if you've gone away from it for a little bit. So that covers everything really. Other than check us out.
That is it. Have a look down here. You'll see all of our social media tags. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. If you like, please hit the big thumbs up bit. If there's anything you want to talk to us about, especially about Kill Team or anything else that you want to see us do, hit us up down below or on any of our other channels. And if you really like what we do, tell your friends, because that's good. It's good for us and it's good for you. Right, till next time, I've been Ben.
I've been Ian.
I've been Gary.
We're the Average Tabletop Gamers. We'll see you around.
Thank you.
Bye.